So in this question here, we have a histogram which shows information about the times taken by some students to finish a puzzle. So then we have the histogram, and on the y-axis, as we'd expect, we have the frequency density, and on the x-axis, we're using a measure of time taken in minutes here. We're asked to use this to complete the frequency table for this information, and if I look at the frequency table, in this column we've got the time taken in minutes, so these intervals which are going to correspond to each bar, and then we're going to have in the second column, which we need to fill in, the frequency for these bars, for these intervals. So if I have a look at the first one, so we have 0 to 5, that's going to correspond to this bar here, 0 to 5. This is also known as the class width, so the x-axis is going to be taken as the class width, and the class width of this bar is 5 minus 0, so it's got a width of 5. Now in order to calculate the frequency, I'm going to use the formula. So the frequency is going to be equal to the frequency density, so in this case what's on the y-axis, multiplied by the class width, so the CW, which is basically the x-axis here. So we're measuring the class width for the time taken. So if I'm going to use this kind of formula to work out the frequencies for each interval, we can firstly look at this one, so 5 to 15. That corresponds to this bar here, and it has a class width of 15 minus 5, so 10, and it's going to have a height or a frequency density of 0.4. So here we're going to have 10 multiplied by 0.4, and that gives us an answer here of 4. Similarly, for the second bar, for the next one along, we've got the class width 15 to 25 here. This bar, which is a class width of 10, it's got a height of 0.6, so a frequency density of 0.6. So we're going to have 10 multiplied by 0.6, and that gives us an answer of 6. And then we can just apply the same principle to the last two. So this one has a class width of 5 this time, 25 to 30, and a height of 1. So 5 multiplied by 1 gives us an answer of 5. And then finally we have a class width from 30 to 50, which is 20. The difference is 20. And the height is 0.2. So 20 multiplied by 0.2 gives us an answer of 4 here. So as for how the marks are awarded, you would get the first mark for getting 2 of the answers, the frequencies, correct, for finding 2 of these, and then the second mark is for a fully correct final answer of all 4 frequencies calculated from the histogram. We're now asked to find an estimate for the lower quartile of the times taken to finish the puzzle. And we can obviously use this data that we've just put together, and we're going to use the frequencies. So we've basically put together for ourselves a frequency table here. So we have the frequencies for each set of times. So in order to find the lower quartile, which is quartile 1, we need to find the n plus 1 over 4th piece of data and then see what time that's going to correspond to. And n here is going to be basically the cumulative frequency, so the total number. If we add together all of the frequencies, this total is going to be n. So in this case, this is the total number of people that took part in finishing the puzzle. So if we add all of the frequencies together, so 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4, we get to an answer of 23. So in order to find the lower quartile, I'm going to take 23, add 1 and divide that by 4. So that's 24 divided by 4, and that means I want the 6th piece of data. Now in order to do this, I'm going to have to interpolate. So I can see that in the 0 to 5 range here, there are 4 pieces of data. However, we want the 6th piece, so we want 2 more than this piece of data. So we're going to have to break into the next row of the table here. And we've already used up 4, and we want the 6th piece, so we're going to go 2 further into this slot of 4. And here, 2 over 4 is basically the same as a half. So we want halfway into this interval that we have here. So we're going to go halfway through here because the 6th data set, 6th value is going to be halfway into this frequency of 4 for this specific bar. So we're going to go halfway between 5 and 15. So we can just do this by doing 15 minus 5 divided by 2 gives us 10 over 2, so 5. And we're going to add that on to the first value in the interval. So 5 plus 5 gives us an answer of 10. And that's going to be the correct number of minutes here. The answer of 10 is going to give us the correct final answer to gain us the mark here. We would have gained the first mark for this calculation that we used here to find the value that's representing the lower quartile, and then the second mark for the final correct answer of 10 here.